Good morning, Virgo. Uh, an item in your living space is functioning as anchor to past version of yourself, past trauma, past relationship, or past pattern that you've outgrown internally, but that you're still attached to externally through physical possession. And that attachment is creating energetic drag that prevents you from fully moving forward into life you're building, person you're becoming, reality you're trying to manifest. And you know which object this is. Deep down, you already know. Maybe you've been avoiding dealing with it. Maybe you've convinced yourself it's not that important. Maybe you've created story about why you need to keep it, even though every time you see it, you feel heavy. But that heaviness is information. Your body is telling you what your mind is rationalizing away. Let me describe what happens when physical objects become energetic blocks. Objects carry association. Every item you own connects to memories, people, periods of your life. Most of those associations are neutral or positive things you enjoy seeing, using, being reminded of. But certain objects carry weight. They don't bring joy or even neutral presence. They bring pain, guilt, shame, regret, sadness, anger. And every time you encounter them, consciously or peripherally, those emotions get activated. Brief spike of negative feeling that you might not even consciously register, but that your nervous system absolutely does. Over time, those microactivations accumulate. They keep you tethered to emotional state you're trying to transcend. They reinforce identity you're trying to release. They maintain connection to reality you're trying to leave behind. The object becomes symbol, physical representation of what you're still holding on to, even though intellectually you know you need to let go. And as long as symbol remains in your space, in your field of vision, in your daily environment, full letting go is impossible. Let me be specific about what types of objects function this way. Gifts from people who hurt you, ex who betrayed you, friend who abandoned you, family member who abused you, the necklace they gave you, the book they recommended, the furniture they helped you pick out. You might tell yourself, but it's a nice thing, or waste to get rid of something useful, or they gave it to me when things were still good. But every time you use it, wear it, see it, you're reinforcing connection to a person you claim you want to release. Your conscious mind says, I'm over them. Your subconscious mind says, then why are you still wearing their jewelry? Remnants of previous version of yourself that you've outgrown. Clothes from when you were different size that you keep in case, even though you've maintained current size for years. Awards or certificates from achievements that no longer reflect who you are. Books or materials from interests you've moved beyond. These items anchor you to past self. They whisper, remember when you were. They make moving forward feel like betrayal of who you used to be. But growth isn't betrayal. And holding on to physical evidence of past self prevents full integration into present self. Purchases made during dark periods, things you bought when depressed, addicted, in toxic relationship, in crisis, they carry energy of that state, even if they're perfectly functional objects. That couch you bought when you were drinking too much, that artwork you purchased during manic episode, that kitchen equipment you got when you were trying to save relationship through performing domestic perfection. Objects purchased during trauma carry residue of that trauma, and residue contaminates present. I inherited items you keep out of obligation, not love. Things from deceased relatives that you don't actually want but feel guilty discarding. Furniture that doesn't fit your space or style but that family expects you to maintain. Family heirloom that functions as burden rather than treasure. Your home should reflect your life, not your obligation to honor someone else's memory through possessing objects they once possessed. Love for a deceased person doesn't require maintaining their physical belongings. Memory exists independent of stuff. Let's pause here. This reflection invites you to consider what object in your home creates negative feeling every time you encounter it. Maybe you just thought of it. Maybe image of specific item appeared in your mind as you read that question. That's the object. The one that came to mind first. The one you've been avoiding dealing with. Or maybe you're aware of multiple objects. Whole category of things. Everything from that relationship. Everything from that period. Everything in that room. That's fine. Start with one. The most emotionally charged one, the one that carries the most weight. This reflection invites you to consider, what story have you been telling yourself about why you need to keep this object? Common stories, but it was expensive, but someone gave it to me, but I might need it someday, but it's wasteful to discard something functional, but it's the only thing I have from that time. All of those stories are excuses, rationalizations that keep you stuck. Truth is, keeping object that damages your emotional well-being is more wasteful than discarding it. Cost of maintaining energetic anchor exceeds monetary value of item, and only thing you have from that time is good thing if that time was painful. You don't need physical reminder of trauma. Lessons are integrated, memories exist, object is just weight. Let me describe what happens when you actually remove the object, what your life will change like this specifically means. First change is immediate relief. Physical and emotional lightness, like pressure you didn't know you were carrying, suddenly lifts. Your home feels different, more yours, more aligned with who you actually are versus who you used to be or who others wanted you to be. And that alignment creates peace. Coming home feels restorative instead of subtly draining. Second change is mental clarity. You'll notice thoughts flowing more freely, decisions becoming easier, fog lifting that you attributed to other causes, but that was actually low-level constant activation from triggering objects. Third change is forward momentum. You'll notice progress accelerating in areas where you've been stuck, because energetic space you clear by removing physical object becomes available for new things to enter, new relationships, new opportunities, new versions of yourself. Nature abhors vacuum. Clear space gets filled. Question is whether you clear it intentionally so right things can fill it, or whether you keep it cluttered with wrong things so nothing new can enter. Fourth change is relationship shifts. People who were connected to that object or that period might naturally drift away, or your capacity to engage with them might shift. And new people who resonate with the current version of you start appearing because you're no longer broadcasting mixed signal of I'm moving forward, but I'm also still attached to past. Fifth change is self-trust deepening. You prove to yourself that you can let go, that you're capable of making hard choices, that you're serious about your own growth instead of just talking about it. That proof creates momentum, makes next difficult choice easier, builds confidence in your capacity to do what serves you even when it's uncomfortable. This reflection invites you to consider, what would it feel like to walk into your home and not encounter that triggering object anymore? Maybe liberation, maybe relief so profound you wonder why you waited so long, or maybe grief, because removing object makes real what you've been avoiding accepting, makes ending final, makes moving on actual instead of just theoretical. And that grief is valid. Feel it, process it, but don't let it stop you from removing object. Grief happens whether object stays or goes, but keeping object extends grief indefinitely. Removing it allows grief to complete and healing to progress. How to actually do this practical steps, because intention without action is just continued procrastination. Today, literally today. Not soon, or when I have time. Identify the object, the one that came to mind, the one you know needs to go. Don't overthink this step. Don't second guess yourself. Trust first instinct. Tomorrow or this weekend, remove it. Not eventually, not next month, within days. Removal methods, depending on object type. Trash it if it has no value to others and you want symbolic destruction. Sometimes physically destroying object is cathartic, provides closure. Donate it if it's useful and you want it to serve someone else. Goodwill, charity, organization that can use it. Sell it if it has monetary value and you want compensation. Online marketplace, consignment. Whatever converts object to cash you can use for something positive. Give it back if it belongs to someone else, and returning it provides closure. That gift from X, that borrowed item you've been keeping. Return creates boundary. Says, I don't want connections to you in my space anymore. Store it temporarily if you're not ready for permanent removal, but you know it needs out of daily environment. But set date for decision about permanent disposition. Storage can't be indefinite avoidance. And immediately after removing object, replace the space it occupied with something you actually love, with something that reflects current you, with something that brings joy instead of weight. Don't leave void. Fill it intentionally with positive. This reflection invites you to consider, what would you put in the space where a triggering object currently exists? Let me address resistance that's probably arising as you read this. But I'm not ready. You're never going to feel ready. Ready is decision followed by action, not feeling that precedes decision. But I'll regret it. You might. But you can regret bold choice that moves you forward, or you can regret timid choice that keeps you stuck. Choose regret that comes with growth. But it's not the object's fault. Correct. Object is neutral, but your association with it isn't neutral. And association is what matters. But this won't actually change anything. You're right that removing one object won't magically fix everything, but it will remove one energetic block. And sometimes that's the block that's preventing everything else from shifting. But I have too many objects like this. I can't remove them all. Start with one. most significant one. See what happens. Let success with one create momentum for addressing others. Don't let overwhelm at scope prevent you from taking first step. What happens if you don't remove the object? You stay stuck in patterns you claim you want to change. Because object reinforces pattern energetically even while you're trying to change it behaviorally, you continue experiencing low-level drain that costs energy you could direct toward building instead of maintaining. You demonstrate to yourself that you're not actually committed to growth you talk about, that comfort with familiar pain exceeds courage to choose unknown healing, and universe or timing or whatever force you believe in receives message. They're not ready for new because they're still clutching old. You remain in complete control of whether you remove triggering object or continue tolerating its presence. You can act or procrastinate. Choose discomfort of letting go or discomfort of staying stuck. The power is yours. It always has been. You may notice reading this has brought specific object to mind with uncomfortable clarity. Maybe resistance rising about actually getting rid of it. Maybe recognition that, yes, you've been avoiding this for too long. Whatever you're feeling, honor it. Take what resonates. Softly release the rest. Trust yourself. Before we close, I want to ask you something. What object in your home do you know you need to remove but have been avoiding dealing with? Drop it in the comments if you're willing to name it. And this, what story are you telling yourself about why you can't get rid of it? Take this damn object out of your house and your life will change. Because object is anchor to past you're trying to release, trigger that activates emotions. You're trying to transcend, symbol of connection. You're trying to sever. And as long as it remains in your space, contaminating your present with residue from your past, full forward movement is impossible. Not eventually. This week, within days. Trust yourself with this trust. That temporary discomfort of letting go creates lasting relief. Trust that you don't need physical objects to maintain memories or honor connections. Trust that clearing space allows new right things to enter. Trust that you're strong enough to release what no longer serves you. See you in the next one. And listen, your home should be sanctuary that supports who you're becoming, not museum that preserves who you were. Release the object. Watch what shifts. Stay brave. Stay committed. Stay growing. The object needs to go. Remove it. Take care.